make sure you grab different color spray paints, different size thread edges, and everyday household items like cups or lids. My name is Arturo Lopez, and I created Spraycaso Studios back in 1999. I have then continued to show people diverse ways of creating master paintings in just a few minutes using nothing more than just spray paints and everyday household items. The beauty of this art is that you don't have to have a steady hand or know how to draw. All it requires is a little bit of imagination and some dedication. So join us, and you too can become a Spraycaso master. I will walk you through diverse techniques of creating beginner level paintings, intermediate level paintings and techniques, advanced level paintings, and we'll take your skills even further to master level paintings. So if you guys are ready to embark into a new art adventure, then grab your spray paints and materials. Let's get started. This is going to be the next thing we're going to be working on here on Spraycaso. More than a painting, it's actually an arts and crafts piece. I hope you guys enjoy. Alright crew, so Spraycaso here. For this next tutorial, this is a little dinosaur. See if you guys can see it. The camera is in a different angle. I want you guys to kind of see what I see when I'm doing this. And this was gotten from stencildude.com. He told me to tell you guys that he's working on the website, so much apologies that his site is not completely up yet. He's got a couple projects, some pretty big projects actually, and so the website kind of became a little bit behind. But this is a project for a couple of table toppers that's going to be taking place for I think it was the Cub Scouts or the Boy Scouts, maybe even both. And this is going to be on top of the tables, And he asked me to take one and kind of do a little tutorial on it. And I think it's a great idea. I haven't done a 3D miniature little statue thing, so I just make up my own words. I'm like President Bush. So anyways, we're going to sprayify the statuification here. Anyways, this is what we're going to be doing, and I really don't have an idea of how I'm going to do this, so I'm thinking that maybe we can use it as a canvas and use both sides, do one color this way and one color this way. And so, if you guys are ready, I'm going to start off with the green. I know, corny perhaps kind of the color everybody thought about. But we'll do one side green, we'll do the little stomach yellow, and then we'll change it up a little bit on the other side. Okay? Alright guys, so I'm going to start off with my green and yellow. So grab your cans. I'm not going to do anything too fancy. I'm going to get a piece of cardboard to start off with. And let's see what it looks like when it's green. Now this is primered, so it's not like I'm just spraying on metal, it's primered, so don't ask me how he primered it, I don't know. Probably spray paint. Alright, now what I'm thinking about doing here, I am going to add some shadows. To do that, you guys know me, right? I'm just going to use a little bit of black and create the effect of shadow with the black. Because wherever the black lands is going to create a darker green. So the weather here in Carlsbad seems to be very nice. It's about time we get some rain. Well, I say that, but it's probably not going to rain. See, I thought it was going to rain because I washed my truck. It took me 4 hours to wash my truck and my car. And of course, sky gets gray. But then I guess I'll consider taking one for the team because we do need the rain. But it's been like this for a few hours now and not a drop. So gosh, I hope so. Now what I'm doing here, I'm just adding several layers. And I'm adding very thin layers. It's just a couple of bursts. And they go down. Oh, that's kind of cool. I just noticed that. Shape of the dinosaur. just quick bursts, you know. And since I'm using very thin layer, it dries really quick. Except for that part, but I'm sure the other parts are dry. Alright. Now ideally what you want to do is you want to do a coat like this, make it nice and green, and then wait about 15 minutes. Come back out, do another coat, wait another 15 minutes, maybe even less, and then get a clear coat, clear coat it. Okay, so far so good. So far very good. Tell you what, let me go inside, grab a little bit of tape this off so that we don't get any yellow on that leg. Maybe tape off this arm a little bit. Alright, let's do that. Yeah. Kind of bend the tape according to the shape of his arm. Because if I leave it square like it is now, it'll probably just prevent me from spraying right here on this area as well. Let's put another piece of tape up here. Keep in mind, guys, this is my first time doing this. Have mercy. There we go. Alright, screw it, I think that's good. I do not have patience, guys, I really don't. Alright, here we go. Pre-spray, always pre-spray, right? A little bit of yellow. I'm going to do this in bursts. Now well, you know what, I'm going to go for it. I was going to say, I know I didn't cover this area in yellow, but that's Picasso. Dang it. Do anything. I wish that was true. Alright, here we go. Look at that. Pretty cool. I like it. Alright. Now, just going to remove some of this tape. Now, I'm not too worried if I got so much yellow onto the green because I was going to go over it anyways, right? We're going to do some shadows. But I would like the yellow to try and stay confined to the stomach area. I don't really much care if it you know, kind of fades into the green because like I said, I'm just going to sit here and we're going to do another coat of green. And it'll give it a nice effect to fade the green into the yellow. Now guys, I am such a nerd. I would probably somehow figure out how to add lights to this dinosaur. I would probably get some optic fiber, maybe sand off a couple shades of it along these lines, put a little LED light in the back. Guys, I'm not kidding. Big nerd. Like Star Trek. Alright, let's add another coat. Start from the top. You don't want it to run down. You don't want to have a running paint job. You know, you don't want it to be able to see that you oversprayed in one area and then the paint just starts dripping down. We're trying to prevent that. Best way to do it, very light layers. Very, very light. What do you think? Should we do the other one purple? No, I don't really much care for that dinosaur either. Alright, so I've done several coats now. And so now we have our dinosaur and he's ready to be clear coated. So make sure you do the spray off as well with the clear coat. I'm just going to do a fairly thick coat. This is the same techniques that I would apply on vehicles. I would try and use very thin coats. And then I would wait, or I will wait for it to dry. And once it dries, we'll add another coat. But it has to be dry to the touch, guys. So make sure you touch an area that nobody's gonna notice. Like I'm gonna touch up here. It's pretty dry up here and there. But I know I concentrated most of my spray up here and right here. So I'm gonna wait just a little bit. Alright guys, while the other side is drying, which is pretty much dry by now, we waited about, I don't know, I think it's been about 10 minutes. We're going to go ahead and start from this side. The other clear poster, canvas, whatever you want to call it. Now I'm going to do something a little bit different here. I have an idea of what I want. Let's try and make that happen, huh? Now, I want this dinosaur to be fairly colorful, but at the same time, I want it to look a little bit more realistic. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. How can you make that look realistic? Well, you can. There's certain things you can't do. I'm not a miracle worker, but what I can do is give it a pretty good paint job. So, at least I hope I can. So, let's give that a try, huh? A little bit of yellow. Yep, the entire thing. Come on, you guys never seen a yellow dinosaur? But I hope the paint is not coming to the back. Nope. Okay, we were right. But just in case. You guys can probably see my husky there in the background. That's Bailey Blue. Ah, I love that pooch. She's got beautiful blue eyes. She's a Siberian Husky. But, for those of you who have seen my tutorials, you've probably seen the Pancho tutorial where I painted a portrait of my dog. That's my Chihuahua. That's the Fearless Warrior. He's out and about somewhere. Okay, I'm going to use a flexible straight edge, just a piece of poster board. In fact, I think you guys saw me use this in one of my previous tutorials where I did a butterfly. And there's the back colors to that. I don't think I need the entire sheet. I'm just going to cut a piece of it off. Now, this is exactly what I used to do. Let me see, let me put this where you guys can see it a little bit better. This is exactly the same technique I used to use when we were cutting our poster board. What I had to do before is I had to buy the big sheets, you know, they're like ginormous sheets of poster board, and then I'd sit there and cut them. Well, it was cheaper for one, and yeah, well, we were trying to save some money, so get the big poster boards, fold it, then you fold it again, then you just run something, I wouldn't say quite sharp. In this case, I'm just running the edge of my can over it. Right? And then it tears away fairly easy. And this is what we did. If you ever saw me spray painting live, I did that a lot. Get a poster board folded into little squares, rip it up. Reason I don't do that anymore is because at the end it leaves this little, it doesn't look very professional, right? And so I don't do that anymore. Now they're nice and even squared and cut. But before, you get this really nice painting and then this little tear at the bottom. So, or on the side. Sometimes it'd be on top. Alright. Anyways, let's paint our yellow dinosaur, huh? I'm gonna use orange for the next color. Yeah, we'll use a little bit of orange. We'll see how that turns out. I'm just making things up as I go with this one. I have a color scheme that I'd like to try, but we'll see how it works out. I'm concentrating most of the dark spray. I want it to be really dark here on the outer side. You guys see that? And then it just kind of blends into the dinosaur. I'm going to use green next. I do want to have a little bit of green. Aha, we got the leg. Okay, so for this next part, I'm going to sit down right yonder. Anyways, and I'm going to continue the spraying from here. No, not because I'm lazy, it's because it's right up here and I really need it close to me. I'm trying to prevent some of the overspray to go over the other side, which I guess it wouldn't matter because it's green anyway. I also want to thank you guys for all those that saw my live tutorial the other day. That was pretty awesome. Thank you guys. We're definitely we have some more on the way, but I got some plans that are going to impede me from doing that for at least another week or so. Going out of town again, guys. All work and no play makes Picasso something. Not a dull boy, that's for sure. Maybe a dull boy. Alright. Oh. Yeah, I'm trying to match up with some of these bands, and that's very hard to do. So, bear with me, folks. Yeah, kinda, sorta. Probably use a little bit of, well, that'd make it too complicated. I was gonna say maybe a little bit of blue. Get this right here, fold it back to match that contour, then spray off just a little bit of blue there so it looks like a shadow, but maybe I'm just thinking too far into it. So I'll just add a little bit of green. Yeah, looks okay. Alright. Yeah, I answer my own questions, by the way, because I talk to myself anyways. I'm used to it. Boy, this is one of those rare times you wish you had like more hands. I could definitely use another pair of hands to hold this where I need it to go. But we'll improvise. We always improvise. Okay. I'm going to fold this way. Just like so. To match that contour. don't know if you guys can see that. Let me scoot it back just a little bit. Yeah, see? So using the straight edge, guys, very flexible. You can match pretty much any contour that I have here. And the trick is to hold it in place while you do a quick spray, and then turn it the other way, and then spray it this way, and you know, eventually you'll work your way around. See, like here, I don't want to get that tail sprayed, so I'm SOL. No, we'll figure it out. Okay, just match it as close as you possibly can. Sweet. Grr. I suppose I could use a little bit of black, maybe make some stripes. Just gonna, you know. Or we could even do some spots. Do the, ooh, it's getting windy. God, I hope it rains. Just not on my car, so it took me 4 hours to wash those things. It's gonna rain. I take one for the team. Well, and sometimes this is what I do, guys. Sometimes I take a look at the finished product and then just kind of step back for a little bit. In this case, I'm talking to you guys, so I don't look at the dinosaur all the time. And then I look back and I'll see what else I could do to make certain things stand out. Perhaps I could add a little bit of orange across those lines. May not be a bad idea. You know, it'll just give it more of a 3D look. Perhaps I can get a little, I don't know what happened to my black. You know what, I was using it yesterday. Okay, well, we could use a different color. We could use blue. Just kind of make those little lines stick out a little bit more. Huh, I don't know. For my next project, I'm thinking about getting a cowboy hat. And you know how the cowboy hats are, they're funny shaped. They're like this, right? Well, just use your imagination. It's a cowboy hat. Flip it upside down, and then do a space. No, not a spacing. Not a spacing, you guys. Like a landscape. You know, here in New Mexico we have nothing. It's flat, but even flatness looks good when there's a sunset in the background, some yucca sticking out. There's beauty in everything, right? So maybe do a desert scenery across the hat. And of course I wouldn't wear it, but maybe you can just hang that around the house. Found a couple hats. If you guys think that's a good idea, you know, comment below. Leave me a comment, a suggestion if you want to see some other type of scenery on there. But for now, I think we are done with this dinosaur. What do you guys think? I can already hear the comments, and it's not a bad thing. I think we could add a little bit more to this side, so it doesn't look so plain Jane. But nah. There you go. What do you guys think? He does some really cool stuff. This is just one of them. He does a lot of different little cool stuff, and I have quite a bit of inventory now of, you know, metal stencils that I kind of have to paint. What happens is people, you know, they go to this website, they pay an amount to get the stencil, and then they realize I'm working with him, so then they pay a little bit more and they get me to paint their stuff. So you guys can definitely do that as well. Don't you dare ask for another dinosaur, because I ain't doing another one. Just kidding. If you guys want a dinosaur, I'll paint another one. But I like the way that came out. Yep. Yep. Alright, we're just gonna wait for this to dry. I hope you guys have enjoyed today's tutorial. Until next time, folks. Hard paint. Keep those cans shaking. We'll see you next time.